Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Ryan Eastman coming to you live from Crawdad Stadium in Biloxi, Mississippi, Voodoo Country. I am joined in the booth tonight by Christopher Whalen. How you doing, Christopher?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
So we're here, game two. Game one did not go the way of the Spectrums. They had to battle back from quite a deficit, but just not able to close it out in the end. They gave back the lead to the Voodoo, and the Voodoo held on to it for the game. But game two
Well, like
here,
you,
well, go ahead.
I was gonna say, like you said, we're in Voodoo country now, and Biloxi has a really strong home court advantage. So I'm certainly not surprised that the Spectrums were a little spooked.
Well, to be fair, there are some Spectrum fans in the crowd. This is not as bad as last year's final of Plymouth, Hawaii, where I'm pretty sure I think I saw three or four fans in total at each away game.
Yeah, all those lucky fans in a sea of pink or green, as it were. But yeah, there were some white and blue jerseys out there last night.
Yeah,
2 minutes
well,
ago.
so as I talked with last game, the overall the team, the way the Voodoo played came down to the three starters. Obviously, Sterling, River, and Kim carrying the team. Whereas the Spectrums had issues really with their starting lineup showing up. Only, I would argue, Tyrese came and showed up at all last night. Uh, Aditya and Jin Sung Lee tried to get going, but they just weren't very efficient. Uh, from what you saw in the game, what changes do you think the Spectrums need to make here tonight to get a win on the road and take away home court advantage?
Well, they just never seemed to gel, like you said last night. They every time they sort of had like a little bit of a momentum going, the Voodoo just kind of shut them down. And the whole night it seemed like they were really chasing the Voodoo's lead and trying to catch back up. I think they really need to come out strong here in the first quarter, and then if they lose a little bit of steam or a little bit of focus, they can at least rely on a banked amount of points to carry them through those tough spots.
That's a very fair point. I mean, the Voodoo have a very explosive offense. I mean, I mentioned last night between Kim, Booksitis, and Lowenthal, those three are absolutely deadly from beyond the arc. So any kind of lead Santa Ana can build gives them that buffer when one of those players or even multiple of those players start nailing those shots from beyond the arc. It was kind of quiet last night from beyond the arc for the Voodoo, but absolutely ice cold from the Spectrums. That's where I feel like they need to show up here. With they can't have such a lackluster showing from beyond the arc. I know Adia and Kiara can hit that shot from that range, and they definitely need to spread the defense out. Tyrese was very impactful from the post, but if they can't get anything going from beyond the arc, the Voodoo will just start to collapse in on Tyrese, and they need to give Tyrese as much breathing room as possible to work the post, especially with Seba. Hopefully, he'll step up a bit tonight and take some of that pressure off of the Otter. You know, the Toucan can get it done in the post. It's just the matchup he has tonight is not always the best. He's going against Michael River, who almost has 80 pounds on him.
Yeah, and I think you're right. The Spectrums really need to kind of shore up their their big holes, and I think that beyond that 3 point arc is really where they have to shine tonight. Every single one of those extra points is going to matter, especially with a team that is so aggressive as Biloxi.
And I think I see the players heading down to the court now as we head down live. Another key factor tonight, I think, will be how the fouls play out. We didn't see any kind of foul trouble game one, and Sterling is known to have some issues with fouls late in the game. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Voodoo, after seeing the Spectrum seeing his performance last night, try to maybe make him a non-factor by getting him in foul trouble.
Well, uh, we all know that he gets cocky, especially later on in the game, as you said. You know, you can if you start to goad him a little bit, he starts playing a little more sloppy. Definitely, you know, starts to do a little bit more shoving.
Well, he is an aggressive defender. I mean, one of the tops both in blocks and steals. Definitely rightful to have earned his Defensive Player of the Year nod earlier in his career, and finishing second place again this year. Definitely an argument to be made that he could have won his second Defensive Player of the Year. And actually, we see him getting fouled and sent to the line.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's kind of ironic we're talking about him fouling out, and he's going to the line for 2.
I mean, to be fair to him, he is a very physical player, and maybe the refs give him a little bit less slack than some others, but at the same time, it causes the opponent, you know, mentally keep track of where he is on the court. All he has to do is be behind you, and you worry about, is he going to chase me down and make a fool out of me by blocking me from behind?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, we're talking about where Santa Ana really needs to shore up their defenses. They can't allow any of the Voodoo to go to the, you know, the free-point line today.
Daya missing his first shot. Tim and Vilka's going to go in a fast break, drive to the basket, laying it up and off the glass. We saw a bunch of dunks come out for the Voodoo last night. See if they continue up that acrobatic play here.
He just made it look easy.
I mean, the Wolf is playing for a free agency contract right now. I mean, he got to get paid this offseason with how impactful he's been for this team. Speaking of, he's going to play isolation down low in the post. Dishing it back out to Kim, though. They're going to hand it right back to him. River, high pass to Sterling, who basically just sends a lob up, but gets his own miss in the putback. And, well, apparently the Voodoo are just continuing from last night as they're up by 6 here.
And it makes you wonder if the Spectrum's like, if last night's loss is already in their heads a little bit.
Well, Tyrese clearly unaffected by whatever woes were from last night's loss. I mean, obviously, all the work he put in, it definitely hurts not to have a win come from it. So keep an eye out on him and see how he plays this game. But I have to agree, the Spectrum's starting off cold here is not how, as you said, they need to come out here on fire quarter one and get things done. And Addy will head to the line for 2.
You know, both of these are going right in.
Oh, please don't jinx it, please. We already had that happen last night. Okay, good. Remember, last night started off with River missing 2 free throws, but then going a perfect 6 for 6 to finish the game.
That's right.
Oh, but that's one way to lose the lead, is giving the ball over to Hughes, and she just takes it in the end, laying it up and in off the glass.
Santa Ana's a little more awake tonight, looks like.
Well, I mean, it took them 2 minutes to wake up, but, you know, not all of us can just get out of bed instantly, I guess. Kim, no good off the glass. 3-on-3 fast break the other way. Over to Hughes, down to Tyrese in the post, and it is good.
The textbook play there.
Yeah, especially dishing it out to the perimeter and pulling the defense away just in time for Tyrese to crash the board. It was a beautiful play. I almost surprised Kiara just didn't throw it a little higher and go for an alley-oop. But same time, I can't knock them. They made an easy bucket in the end. Kim just dancing his way through the defense. I think Addy wanted to go for a bit of a charge attempt there, but the Bird just weaved his way through the line. No good on the answer back. River using that size advantage against the Toucan. just hook shot over top of him. I mean, he has both 2 inches of height and about an 80-pound advantage just to bully his way.
Hey, when you've got that bulk, you got to use it to your advantage.
And I mentioned last night that this team, neither team really has a tower like we see on some teams. Vilka down low in the post on the quick play. I mean, the tallest player I think on either team is 7'3", and most of the all the starters for BLV are below 7 feet. For Santa Ana, only Tyrese breaks the 7-foot mark at 7'2", and then they make up for that by having Seba at 6'9", playing the power forward slot. So both teams quick, agile.
Well, and we definitely see that in the gameplay here. You know, there's a lot of aggressive defense because it has to be. You know, if you're not quick on your feet, then they're just going to blow you by.
Exactly. I mean, we see a lot of screens being thrown around, and Vilka from the left sideline is good from beyond the arc. That's a problem already if he's starting to heat up.
I think that's our first 3 for the night.
That it is, and it pushes the lead up to 7. Santa Ana, I wouldn't be surprised if they call timeout after this possession if they can't get a bucket here, because they can't afford to get down by 10 again in the first quarter so quick. And they're going to send it to the Bear for 3, and he answers back with one of his own wide open.
It's the way to close that gap.
And he's not the normal one to take the threes. I talked about Kiara and Aditya. Those are definitely the 2 more reliable from beyond the arc, but the Black Bears showing that he can as well stretch the defense, except maybe needs a little bit more of an open look. And, a mistake there coming out from Vilkasidis. He got double teamed, so tried to dish it back out to the perimeter and just overthrew his target.
Yeah, Biloxi's, you know, not even just Benzing, but their whole team does tend to get a little cocky when they feel like they're up. And that's when they start making mistakes. And so it'll be interesting, you know, hopefully there won't be too many instances like that, but I'm certain that most of them will be when Biloxi's ahead.
Well, we saw it last night, the same kind of situation where Biloxi was up by quite a margin, and then they had 3 straight turnovers in a row, and suddenly the Spectrums were back within 2 baskets. So you're definitely right there that the turnovers seem to come mostly when Biloxi's ahead. They are a team of veterans, though.
They are, but they also like to showboat. They know they're veterans. They like to show off a little bit. I think that's really where they get in the weeds.
And then they have old man Malone on the bench, just, angry, glaring at the team as they let these mistakes build.
I think they call that resting glare face.
We saw Jinsung, a nice spin-around jumper. He had some trouble with that last night, but already the 3 and the 2-pointer now is helping keep Santa Ana in, and I think both teams will be making some substitutions soon. That's kind of the impact of that high pace of play. They have to rotate their bench in to keep their players fresh. No good on the pump fake. Kim almost drew a foul from Addy just from the 3 pump fake, and that would actually been a great chance to go to the line. I'm surprised he did not lean into it to get the foul called. Addy for 3 off the back, no good. That would have been a great chance for them to take the lead here. See his struggles tonight, 0 for 4. Might want to go back to passing or focusing on setting up his teammates as he gets absolutely bullied in the post by Sterling.
Yeah, if you're shooting cold for the night, get rid of the rock.
I mean, some players, that's their forte, is shooting through the cold streak until they finally catch fire. But at the same time, your teammates have to trust you in that regard, because they're going to start looking at you with some not so happy eyes, as you call, resting glare face of, if you're going to miss 10 shots, I could have taken a few of those and made them.
Exactly.
Another missed open look.
Hughes keeps
Ooh, almost
missing those
stripped
long
there.
shots.
Yeah, I mean, they're open looks, so I don't really critique them too much. She needs to make them, or at least take a step or two closer to the basket.
Exactly. I mean, well, because there's no excuse for that if they're wide open. I mean, you. Sorry, getting distracted by the Spectrums coming back strong here.
Well, I mean, the Toucan elevating there for a dunk definitely is one good way to get the players, a little bit excited. Both teams have gone cold here, score kind of stalling out.
Making use of that one flap rule.
Ooh, a long shot from Vilka, but he was just inside the three-point line, so that'll only count for 2. But that's, I believe, his 7th point tonight so far.
I think you're right.
I mean, making up for last night's game. I mean, he wasn't, absent, but definitely not one of the top 3 on the team when it came to scoring. And Tyrese, he is a key anchor for this team's offense. I mean, with the perimeter's not going, just give it to the auto down low in the post.
Well, and we talked about how, the perimeter play is important, but, more important than that is just getting points on the board.
Yeah, and I mean, that opens up the perimeter game as well. I mean, it's a pull and tug between the two, especially when you have someone so dominant like that. I mean, another player who's heading into free agency and they'll not say they're thinking about it, but players are thinking about it, their next contract and where it's going to come from, and their performance here in the finals. They have every team's eye on them. And if you're getting into free agency this year, this is the best stage to show what you can do and earn that money.
Especially if you can go back and say, hey, I won a ring for my team. Let's do it again with your team.
Oh, yeah, finals MVP, that's going to be a hefty bonus on any kind of contract. Any ring instantly kind of elevates how much a team might be willing to pay you. Even if you come off the bench, if you had any kind of impact on the run, a team desires that. As River misses the second free throw, Gold elevating, answering back with a dunk, pulling Santa Ana back within 1. Speaking of a player who needs to prove his worth, traded from Seattle after only 1 year on the team after they fell in the first round. But now here he is in the finals.
Yeah. That's what we call a lucky trade.
I mean, he was a starter for Seattle. Now he's been mostly coming off the bench. Malone somehow fighting his way in the post. The Kangaroo, one of those players you do not want having as a defender, not wanting them to have the ball, because he just has every trick in the book for how to make you look silly down low.
Yeah, he's been around forever. He knows all the tricks to get past your defense. You think you're being clever, and then suddenly he's gone.
Yeah, we saw a great spin move last night from him. I mean, it didn't result in a basket, but, for a player who's in his 18th year, he did not look like it in terms of his agility at times.
Well, and that's really kind of speaks to how the game is played now versus, 10, 20 years ago. You have these players who are coming longer, who are retiring, or maybe even coming back. And they are playing longer and harder.
Missed three-pointer at the buzzer there. We end the first quarter, BLV up by 5, 28-23. And that's definitely an interesting fact to think about. These players that can go for this length of time in terms of their career. Obviously, the past 2 or 3 years he has spent mostly coming off the bench, which you have to imagine has extended his career as well. Limiting his minutes. He's not a young fur anymore, able to play 30-minute games.
But when he's on the court, he's definitely pulling his weight for sure.
Yeah, well, maybe if he wins a ring here, he can finally retire. He won his first ring as a rookie in 2004. Maybe he can retire now if he adds a 5th in 2021.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of these athletes now... Oh, go ahead.
No, go. It was almost a strip attempt, but they got it back.
I was gonna say, a lot of these athletes who are extending their careers, they really don't have much else to do after their career is over. I mean, that's part of why we're starting to see some of them maybe come back for a honeymoon round, as it were.
Well, to be fair, I think Malone's played basketball for more than half of his life. I mean,
He's been playing basketball longer than some of these rookies have been on.
I mean, you're not wrong. I mean, there's going to be a rookie in this next year's draft, surely, that was born after Malone's career started. So it can be a scary thing to step away from the game that, has been your life. That's why we see some players go into coaching. I mean, a way to keep themselves in the game without actually having to be in the game. As we see Carter hitting a three, we're seeing BLV pull away a little bit here, up by 8. Speaking of rookies for Santa Ana on the court now. Kino loses the battle for the rebound. We see a fast break opportunity. Evan fouled on the way up by Gold. Chance to push us to a double-digit lead here if he can make both these free throws.
So it's interesting that while we got kind of the veterans on the Biloxi side, Santa Ana's second string is mostly rookies, or you've got London, who's in their second year, and JC Gold's really the only one on that string that's had any significant play time.
And he's only a fourth year by that metric.
Yeah.
London from 3 is good. That's one way to pull it back. And, I mean, you're definitely right. Santa Ana, as I mentioned last night, has a lot of explosive potential coming off the bench because these rookies are, unknown factors. There's not a lot of tape on them. They only have this season really to go off of. And they can be a bit more reckless and, be in places that you don't expect. And we're actually seeing the ball turned over off the steal attempt. It bounced off of Elcom's hand. And that can work in their favor, having that explosiveness. But at the same time, it can also backfire on you spectacularly if, the rookie's feeling like they have to force it.
Absolutely.
Well, and they do get to build some chemistry, these three playing together. No look behind the back pass to Carroll down low in the post, and that was a very beautiful pass from London. Sad to see that did not go in. That would have been the assist of the game, no doubt. But Carroll, she makes up for it by stealing the ball, and now we have a fast break. Gold. Is he going to elevate again? And he does. Second dunk for him now. Oh, boy. BLV, mistakes trickling in once again. SAS back within 4. And they will go to Malone. The steady paw. For 3 from the right sideline is good. Oh, that trick there. He played them like a fool, making them think they was going to go for the screen, and you saw the defender take a step back to go around the screen. And Malone just had an open look.
So Jimmy's just provided me with some numbers here. Average playtime for the Voodoo second string is 8 years.
Yep.
The average playtime for the Spectrum's second string is 1.8 years.
So, yeah, not very long. I think Reed Carter is the youngest in terms of the second string for the Voodoo.
Absolutely. Although, to be fair, Malone's 18 years definitely skews that comparison a little bit.
Oh, Evan, shot clock violation. I mean, that's fair. 18 years off. To be fair, for the Spectrums, having 3 rookies on their team doesn't help that distribution either.
No, but it still counts.
Like I said, there is the cross metric of that. The Spectrums you expect to continue to get better as those young players mature and develop, whereas with the Voodoo, you expect them to kind of have the opposite effect. At 8 years, you're kind of at the peak. So whatever you're doing now might be the best that you can do.
Yeah. And the Voodoo's definitely, fought tooth and nail to be here tonight.
Well, they had to come back down by a game, facing elimination against the Albany Alphas. They had to come back and win that series in 7. We could have had 2 6th seed teams in the finals this year, but the Voodoo managed to hold on.
It's true. That was a great series.
Santa Ana good on the first.
Always nice to see 2 teams that are super hungry just going at each other's throats.
Yeah, well, obviously the Alpha is playing with the knowledge that Narcissa plans to retire after next season, so this was one of their last 2 shots with her. We'll have to see how they do next year. And Malone down low in the post, answering back with a quick bucket. And Malone, last night was a little cold. I mean, he definitely tried to force some shots, but tonight he has found whatever rhythm. I guess the extra day off they had might have been for the worse for him in terms of staying hot.
Yeah.
Quick answer back by London. 2 for 4 from the field tonight so far with a block. That was a good block coming out from him a little bit earlier in the game. And we see some starters on the floor. Kim's out there now.
So now you can see the Biloxi's just thinking here now. They're not automatically passing it back and forth. They're trying to avoid those mistakes that they were making.
Or they just give it to Malone, let him do whatever he wants. 4 for 4 so far tonight. I mean, you play to the hot paw, I guess. Carroll tries to step in, but good defense, giving it back to Gold. Gold fouled from behind, but will get the bucket, so a chance to tie it here with an and one. Is good, and we see both teams making some substitutions, bringing some of their starters back on the floor. And they'll actually sit Malone. I'm a little surprised there. I would keep him out, but then again, I'm sure they have a strict minute rotation they have for him to keep him fresh. Vilka from beyond the arc, no good, but Sterling wins the offensive board. Out to Penrod. Shot clock starting to wind down. Needs to decide what he's going to do. He decides to fight his way through 2 defenders, and no good. Much closer game in the second quarter compared to last night. And, surprisingly, it hasn't really been the 3-point game that's kept Santa Ana in it. It's just been very smart plays and getting to the free throw line. That has been something Santa Ana has done much better tonight compared to yesterday.
Yeah, drawing those fouls, getting those points where you can.
Now the crowd is happy with that defensive stop there and a chance for them to get back the lead, but the crowd for the most part has been a non-factor tonight. Obviously they built that huge lead quickly, and that might actually be backfire for the Voodoo, because now the crowd's you could say they expended their excitement a little too early in the game.
Yeah.
Almost intercepted there, but the good defense, Sterling still comes up with it, and they have a fast break 2-on-2, and of all people's, Addy managed to stop Sterling.
Almost knocked Addy over there.
Well, I mean, that goes into the other factor of the charge. If you see the 5'11 Civic get bowled over by the Polecat, you're going to say, okay, that's obviously a charge. But Vilka, from beyond the arc with a great 3 there.
Coming in with those last-minute points as we close out the half. Santa Ana's got to take the shot here, and they miss. Wide open, Wes Penrod. Not sure where Santa Ana was there, but they cannot let the Voodoo get those shots in. Addie's coming, trying to put some points back in the board for Santa Ana, and he gets fouled. Crowd does not like that, but this is a chance to close that gap for Santa Ana just a little bit. And the first is good. See a couple more substitutions as we get closer to the end of the quarter here for both teams. And the second one is good from Engun as well. Santa Ana making all of their free throws today, which I'm sure has contributed to keeping that lead or their deficit very, very close.
Vilka.
Luxie looking for an opening.
Say Vilka trying to drive to the paint, and I don't know how he managed to do that double pump and get it in through two defenders. He has definitely been the key factor for the Voodoo tonight.
Absolutely. If they win, he's certainly their player of the game.
Well, and there's Kiara. We kind of chastised her a bit for missing an open shot earlier from the free throw line. So her laying it up in off the finger roll from inside the paint is a really good way to, you know, I guess show us up
herself.
A little bit.
Yeah.
And Vilka will head to the line for two. Both teams pretty even in terms of free throw attempts here in the first half, and we'll see the final starters come back in, but only a minute and 55 seconds left in this first half. So, I mean, sure, get him in for that last few possessions, but probably wanted to get him in a little earlier than that.
Santa Ana's going to try to keep this down to a 3-point game before the half ends.
Oh, wow. Coming right off the bench, Jin Sung, not cold at all. That is not an easy shot to make. Fading away from 15 feet out basically turns it into a 17-footed shot attempt.
Well, Santa Ana knows that like a win in Biloxi is going to help them so much down the line in the series.
Oh, no doubt. And Lowenthal getting the offensive board. He is going to go to the line for two. And, I mean, taking away home court advantage is the goal here. You know, take a win here, win two in a row, and be up 3-1. Put all the pressure on the Voodoo.
Yeah, make them have to come back from behind. But we've seen them do that, like you said, in Albany.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely not a team that just because they're down, you can't.
Yeah, they're definitely not out.
Yeah, they're definitely not out. I mean, we talked about championship bloodline last night with obviously Malone having 4 rings, River coming off of a win last year with the Plymouth Taproots, and then Toravora sitting on the bench. I mean, another veteran that, you know, didn't even go into the calculations that I think you based Jimmy based off of. You know, deep in the bench, that kind of veteran presence as well. You know, has been in this situation before, can impart some knowledge on these, you know, younger players who haven't been to the finals since 2017-18.
Absolutely. And even though they may not be playing tonight, you know, you still have that presence, that, you know, that history behind you that you can impart.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we don't have cameras in the locker room when they do their halftime pep talks. And, I mean, you know these players, they may not be coming on the floor, but they are definitely having an impact in the locker room, getting the players who are out there, you know, pumped up, ready to go for the second half. And speaking of, last possession here, it's within 2. BLV would love to make this a 2-possession game, but Kim is unable to get the shot. So we will head into the second half. BLV's lead has dwindled down a little bit. It's 51-49. And we'll get into the stats in just a little bit.
I'm definitely impressed by how Santa Ana has held on here, especially in the second quarter.
I mean, both teams, you saw 56% field goal percentage for BLV and 51 for Santa Ana. I mean, last night, a little bit worse by the end of the game, but I think it was 49% for BLV and 45% for Santa Ana. So, I mean, both teams doing good.
Yeah, they certainly are. The uh, the as we mentioned before, Biloxi is just making those small mistakes here and there while they're up ahead, and this game really hasn't been any different. Uh, Looking a couple at the stats here, got 4 points for Derek Kim, 18 for Vilka, 6 for Benzing, and 5 for River. Looking a little farther down towards the bench, Lowenthal with only 1, but Malone on fire tonight with 9 points, doing well there. Carter with 3. And I think we're going to see that, especially their line here has been pretty strong today. The second string here off the bench.
Yeah, and I mean, it's been basically just the Vilka show. I mean, 18 points. We definitely want to see another player step up besides Malone off the bench for them. And you kind of worry, do they only have this 2-point lead because of how hot Vilka has been? And what will happen if the St. Anna Spectrums are able to shut him down in the second half? How will this game turn out then? Who will step up? You see the rest of the bench mostly contributing small points here and there. Not taking a lot of shots. Malone definitely dominated the attempts for the Voodoo, but diving on over to the Spectrums. Addy, definitely cold tonight. 1 for 7, 4 for 4 from the free throw line, but getting a bit more spread out to his teammates with 3 assists. I think last game he only had a single assist between him. And you see Seba 4 points, Tyrese 6 points. Both shooting well, 3 for 5, 2 for 3, making up for the struggles from their point guard. Kiara Hughes picked it up there towards the end, 6 points, 3 for 5 from the field. Jin Sung hit some really tough shots. I mean, those fadeaways and that 3-pointer, 7 points so far, but some of his fadeaways have not worked out for him. Gold, coming off the bench, has been lightning. 3 for 3 from both the field goal and the free throw line, has put up 9 points. Lagerstrom, not too shabby himself, 2 for 2 with 4 points. London, 3 assists and a block, 5 points total. Carroll had the steal, which led to a basket and a rebound as well. Aquino, a bit more productive last night, hasn't really done a whole lot here, but with Gold going off, he has not needed to. We are back in the second half now, and that's the key player right there, Vilkasaitis, 18 points, 7 for 9 from the field. Even though Cam will get the first basket.
Do you foul him as he's trying to shoot, or do you let him take those baskets?
I mean, I think you let him take the baskets, but you start double-teaming him.
There you go.
And Addy answers back quickly with a lay-in of his own. I mean, we want to see both Kim and Addy step it up and be effective. Obviously, Kim has had a bit of better series so far, but I'd like to see the 3-point battle between the two get going.
Yeah, both these guards have been very quiet so far this game.
Speaking of, Addy from the left sideline is wide open. There we go, Addy. Having the chance to reset mentally in the half. Already 2 baskets here.
He heard us talking about him.
And a quick pass off the back of the Black Bear is going to be intercepted, and Seba will head to the line for 2. Oh boy, Santa Ana, the crowd is not happy, but they will head to the line for 2 here.
This could really be a chance for Santa Ana to pull ahead.
Oh, there you go, jinxing them. I mean, thankfully, they already are ahead. It's just You said that in the first quarter they really need to build the lead. I'm going to argue let's do it in the third quarter. I mean, the half is basically a start of a new game anyways, so...
Yeah, with it being so close, especially like as Santa Ana comes into, I think, their first lead of the night. Um,
Yeah, they tied it up, I think, at one point and maybe had a single basket lead, but it has been a while.
if they can make that gap larger, or at least hold on to that gap.
Al, Derek Kim may have heard us as well because he answers back with one of his own. And Addy against Sterling, but that's what we talked about at the beginning of the game is maybe attacking Sterling down low in the post and get those fouls called. That's only his second, so he's definitely not in any kind of foul trouble. But, get a third one and a fourth one in before the quarter comes to a close and put some pressure on them.
Or even do that to Vilka, like knock out their offense.
And Vilka's a little smarter in terms of being able to pull back the defense, but even then, when a player is having to be conscious about not fouling, it gives you an even more open look. I mean, that's one thing you can definitely give Sterling credit for is even in foul trouble, he's not going to back down, and he's going to put the same pressure with 5 fouls that he did with 0 fouls.
Yeah, he's got a little bit of pride behind his playing. I don't think he's going to, in fact, kind of leading into that reputation as a bad boy, like he's going to kind of use that to his advantage.
Yeah. Dancing his way, slashing the defense, just underneath the basket, throws it up. Lowenthal actually was the one who had his wings up, but unable to really impact the shot. It's going to be a back and forth now, trading the lead. River trying to bully his way, but steps back actually to create some separation off the glass. Seba was expecting him to continue to the post, but instead he fooled him by backing off there. River's cool, calm, and collected, and he really doesn't get out of sorts, so you have to be careful with him. He's far more calculating than his aloof face might make you think.
Yeah.
Santa Ana is not willing to back down either as they instantly get the ball back, and River step away again, and Lowenthal this time is going to get called for the loose ball foul. A little too pushy on the bear down low on the post. Oh no, Addy. Too fast there, and I am not surprised the Voodoo are calling timeout. Look at this. Addy's already up to 16 points. He was 1 for 7 to start the second half, and he's now 4 of 4 in this half.
Yeah, whatever minimal lead Biloxi had is running away from them at this point. I don't know what they put in Santa Ana's water, but it's working.
I mean, some confidence apparently, because Addy is just attacking the post relentlessly despite his size. I mean, maybe if he can't get the ball to go in from beyond the arc, 2 feet from the basket is his answer. And even though there, River, another basket, we see a switch. Santa Ana going to Addy in as the main role in offense, whereas the Voodoo have switched to River, relying on the Deer, letting Vilka catch his breath, and pass will be tipped out of bounds. We see both teams made some substitutions there during the timeout. We see Malone back on the floor, see if he can remain perfect tonight. But Evans just left wide open under the post there, able to dunk it in off the inbound. Addy, wide open path to the basket. Oh my lord, this pace of play is picked up here in the second half. Malone even calling them to hurry up down the court. Carter fading away from the free throw line, no good. Addy versus the Squirrel. We'll see who comes out top. I think the Civet has more of the advantages in terms of speed. He's going to go into the Lion, though. No foul call, but it's going to be Tyrese to come up with the ball. Now it's his turn, double teamed. Finally, Biloxi manages to wrangle in the rebound. And here's the biggest mismatch in terms of experience, the 18-year veteran versus the rookie, and it's the veteran who misses his first shot of the night. Oh, and I think we'll see River subbed out there with that being his third foul now.
Again, Biloxi's playing kind of aggressively here. I don't know if they, they're kind of almost moving to the other end of the scale here.
I thought we were going to say spectrum.
Yeah, I very purposely avoided that word. Nice. When they're up, they get cocky. When they're down, they get desperate, even if it's by a basket or two. And so either way, you're going to see some mistakes on Biloxi's side as they're struggling to get back on top. I think for them, the sweet spot is anywhere between 2 and 5 ahead.
Keep him on edge. And Carter just having to throw the ball up. I wish he had passed down to Evan in that situation as the shot clock became his enemy. At least Evan had a bit of a better shot with a fadeaway attempt. Aquino, the rookie Ram is going to bully his way to the post, but no good. Now it's Malone. Deciding to take a transition three. He hit a three earlier in the game, but not this time. But Vaughn left wide open. He's going to elevate and slam it down. Oh, now it's the other way. A 5-point lead for the Spectrums against the Voodoo.
Aquino's really struggling to put some points here on the board. He's getting some really great opportunities, and he's just not following through.
I mean, he's definitely getting to the basket, but he's still having to face some really tough defense. And we're going to see on the other end a basket there. And as we said, 9 lead changes already, a lot of them coming since the second half started. You're right, I want to see how Aquino adjusts to this pressure. I mean, during the regular season, you have tough opponents, then you have a little bit easier opponents, so it's, you can get your groove back pretty quickly, but against a team like the Voodoo, facing them day after day is going to wear on you, as we see Malone bringing them back within one. Speaking of, matched up against Malone. Gonna call for the screen. He does get an open look. Step back. Jumper is good. There we go. Over the veteran. They'll just go right back to Malone. They will pass it around a bit. Shot clock gonna start to become a problem as Reed gets a nice little screen from the Lion. Even if he had missed it, Elcombe instantly crashed the basket and was actually boxing out a defender already prepared to go for an offensive board, but not needed. And oh no, Vuk stepped out of bounds off of the handoff between him and Tyrese. I mean, a little bit of a silly mistake there for the Spectrums coming in.
You really have to, when that lead is so tight, you really have to avoid those small mishaps.
Especially when they have so many three-point shooters on the other team. Reed coming out and pulling the lead back in the Voodoo's favor. Had quite a few struggles game one in terms of his accuracy. He did hit a three, but overall not very effective from beyond the arc. See how he does is now Gold is going to try and answer with one of his own. No good. That's his first miss, I believe, in this game.
So I'm surprised they aren't, like I'm kind of looking back at how Santa Ana's shooting threes. I don't think Hughes has shot any.
I don't believe so either. I mean, she did have some struggles from the free throw line, remember? So I don't know if she was shooting that.
You trust her?
Well, I don't necessarily trust her, but there's a level of protecting your players' mentality, and if she might be saying, I'm not feeling it right now, don't give it to me from beyond the arc, or
That's
at the
fair.
same time, she may be trusting that other players are feeling hot right now.
Very true. Malone, of course, makes both of his free throws.
I don't think Malone can be pressured at the free throw line.
No, he just looks so calm and collected.
He's played in every stadium about 100 times. I don't think any of the fans could do anything special to distract him.
Maybe if they were like completely silent.
They've done that before, and it doesn't matter.
No, you're right.
I'm pretty sure we've had a fan try and flash him before, and after they were escorted out, I'm still pretty sure he made both free throws.
See Vaughn here answering with 2 of his own.
I mean, both teams have been excellent from the free throw line tonight, and that has been something that can make a difference at the end of the game. And we're going to see a fast break opportunity. Viking off the glass, decide not to risk the dunk with Malone so close behind. The Kangaroo can definitely elevate and catch up to you in that situation. Better to just not risk it and go for a higher chance bucket. But he'll answer on the other end. No, actually, off the glass and off the side iron. London from long range. It'll only be 2, but that's good for Santa Ana to keep a lead here. Minute and change left in the third quarter. We've seen the game swing in the Spectrum's favor after that first half break. See if they can go into the final quarter up for the first time in the series. Another chance to add to that here is Gold just left wide open. Okay, he can't hit a 3, but he can definitely hit a dunk.
Getting flashbacks to the All-Star game.
I mean, double teamed on Vilka. That is one way to make a difference, but it doesn't matter. The Wolf showing that you can put 2 defenders on him, but he'll still hit the jumper. Shelley rolling in off the quick pass. I mean, we see it as they're a run from the Spectrums in the last minute and a half. But I'm just going back to the fact that Vilka, being double teamed, still able to make the shot. And here he is off the offensive board and the putback. Above 20 points now tonight for him.
I think that you just have to double team him the whole time.
I mean, at this point, they might go that route coming into the next quarter. Obviously, Santa Ana, they're going to milk this shot clock. There's only about a second difference between the two. Give BLV no chance to make even an attempt. I would not be shocked if they're going to go for a 3 from London. Long range, no good, and Lowenthal not even a chance to do a full court heave as the Spectrums enjoy their first quarter that they will go into the next with a lead. Up by 2 here, 80-78. See if they can hold on in the final 12 minutes of the game to steal one away on the road. But you have to worry, Christopher, that a 2-point lead is not enough of a margin with this Voodoo team.
Oh no, I mean, right now for neither team really, but we know that the Voodoo can come back and just obliterate a 2-point lead.
And I mean, both teams have explosive offense capabilities. It's just a question of, can they have it happen at the right moment? We see Tyrese trying to fight his way in the post, deciding to dish it back out to Addy, who's on the perimeter, calling for the screen. He picked up his play after the cold first half, and he's coming to the final quarter, putting his 20th point up now after an arguably disappointing first half where he only made 1 basket. To put up 20 as efficiently as he had in the second half is definitely something to be proud of for the Civet. Kim unable to answer with a 3, but Sterling will clean up the miss and laying it in.
Yeah, Addy's definitely showing why he's one of the stars of the team here.
But losing the ball, I mean, you have to think about Addy is one of the last, if not the last player from their previous championship run, and then he was on the bench when that happened, playing as a rookie behind Voss. So, I mean, obviously I'm sure he would gladly take a ring, and there we go, Kiara Hughes, her first 3 of the night. I guess she is feeling it now. That's her 4 of 6 for tonight. She's picked it up. But Kim, unwilling. And actually, I tell you, was that a 3 from Kiara? Maybe I misread it. If she was right on the line.
Yeah, I think she was towing the line there.
Well, never mind. I take it back. Not a 3. Cancel it. Don't give her the ball anymore.
A ballet move there from Addie. She sort of pirouettes, putting it in.
I mean, you know, some players do take ballet practice to work on their agility in the air.
It's true.
And also their flexibility.
I'm not judging. I am just simply commentating. Colorfully.
Look, I'm jealous that the Civic can do a split, okay? I can't do a split.
I'm jealous that the Civic can do a lap around the court, let's be honest.
I mean, if we put a prize at the end, will you do it?
Is the prize a donut?
I mean, maybe a donut hole. That's all that's left, I think, now.
Yeah.
Okay, Kiara. Oh, that was her chance for 3, but no good. She had an opportunity to prove me wrong, but she's continuing to have that struggle from beyond the arc. But still, overall, a good night, if a little lacking in volume for her. 4 of 7 here. And Addie, as we said, a tale of 2 halves. 7 of 8 in the second half. Has really turned it around after his 1 for 7 start. Kim, left side. Oh, again, the 3-point game for both teams. So close.
All right. Fingers crossed here.
No, she's just going to dish it down the Vaughn because, you know,
yeah.
The Otters
it works.
If it isn't broken, why not? You know, there's no reason to reinvent the wheel right now. If it's working,
absolutely,
just keep rolling. But for Vloxy, I want to see some 3s coming out. They have 3 great players who can do that, but they just haven't been able to find a consistent rhythm. We're going to see Lowenthal, no good. But you can also die by the 3s very quickly if you can't get them to fall.
Very true. Like I said, you know, 3-point is no good unless you can make the basket.
Well, especially when on the other end they just keep dishing it down low to Tyrese. That's another lane for him. 14th point here tonight. A lot less than his previous game, but with Addie stepping up, they haven't needed him as much. Looks like Veloxy wanting to rely on their own center here is Sterling battling the Otter, no good, off the glass. And that is the drought that is letting Santa Ana build this lead. 2 minutes without a basket for the Voodoo. But alley-oop! Oh, there was a little too much distance between him and the basket, so he has to just lay it in off the glass. Oh, but it gets the crowd on their feet here. And an interception.
Yeah, the Voodoo crowd here will take any points they can get, especially when Benzing brings it up to the hoop like that.
I am shocked he did not slam that down, but then again, even ego can understand that there's a time and a place for when you need the basket and when you need to get the crowd on their feet, but they already had that, and that's the switch right there. Santa Ana up to 61% in the half. They have just turned on the offense. We talked about their pace of play picking up, and they're dictating the pace right now. The Voodoo are having to try and match it right now.
This is definitely a very different game than we were seeing in the first half.
River forced to fade away. He couldn't really get enough time to back down to the post against Adi. So now back to the Spectrums. Kiara pulling out to the perimeter. Quick pass to Seba. And you know what? If she doesn't take the 3, I don't care. But if she's getting those assists like that, there is no need to worry as a Spectrum fan.
Yeah, let her hang back. Let her look to see where those openings are. And then just cherry pick them. Why not?
Especially if Addy is playing so hot as he has. He is forcing the defense to play on him tight even when he's not on the ball. And it is leaving other furs open. Sterling, he is having to battle down low in the post to clean up these missed shots, and those second chance points are keeping them in it. Another offensive rebound for him and the putback. Now they just need to stop on defense. And that's one way. Lowenthal getting the better of Lee. Back to Kim, wide open for three. It's good. Okay, now the fans, all of them on their feet as BLV is back within a single basket here. But 5 minutes left to go. St. Anna has to call a timeout.
Yeah, I don't blame him at all.
They have to quiet the crowd. I mean, make the crowd cheer through this timeout. Or make them take a break and then see if they can get that energy back. They won't be able to. They've silenced the crowd here with honestly, the only way they could without trying to force a basket. And that's the next goal. You know, draw up a play and get something in the hoop. Down to Addy. And not the worst player, but he's going to do a no-look behind-the-back pass to Tyrese. That is bold.
If you're saying what do you have to do to hold on to this lead?
Oh, my. You need to stop Kim. I mean, we just see him make another basket there.
Speaking of which.
Yeah. Honestly, Addy's been hot. But he has been so hot that he can't continue at this pace. He is going to start having misses trickle in. I need to see another player step up, and they need to take smart shots. I would not consider a fadeaway a smart shot right there. I mean, obviously the defense is dripped all over him, but get some more passing involved. Try and find the open fur. When the defense is playing that tight, they're susceptible to screens, and they're susceptible to quick passes. You see BLV using screens to their advantage, getting players open. Vilka, high three, no good. And actually, oh, that's the fourth foul for River. And 4 minutes to go. As long as this game doesn't go to overtime, I don't think he has to worry too much about foul situation.
Well, as a one-point game, anything can happen.
It could, but Kiara, okay, she's been dishing down the passes to the post for others, and this time she's on the receiving end. The dunk contest champion, not being fancy with it, just getting the ball in the basket and quieting the crowd. River, oh, spin move, defender comes over, and Seba pulls up his fourth foul now as well.
Can't do that when it's this close.
No, you can't. I mean, River last night definitely had the two misses to start, but he was perfect after that, so he's not a player that you can necessarily count on struggling from here. And he is good on the second two, pulling them back in front. It's going to be a back-and-forth game to the end here, I think.
I think so. River, one of those very methodical players, very, very much in his head when he's focused. He's not going to miss those free throw opportunities.
Jin Sung, oh, he gets wide open lane to the basket. River. That might be the most celebrating I see from here tonight as he pats the backboard of the hoop after slamming the dunk, almost apologizing for running into it too hard.
Sorry, buddy.
Thanks for catching me.
Yeah, keep our lead up.
Tyrese, spin around jumper, no good. BLB, an opportunity here. Kim, he's got a lane to the basket, but drenched by the Seba. That's the foul situation coming in. He did not go for that. With 4 fouls, he couldn't really afford to get a 5th one here with 2.5 minutes left to go, but that gives BLV a 5-point lead. That's that cushion you were talking about, but oh my goodness, they left Addy so wide open, and he hits the 3. Oh, that was...
Yep, they hit that 5-point and immediately got sloppy.
I mean, to be fair, that was a really nice drawn play to pick and pop it to Addy.
It's true. It's very true.
And he has been hot. He hasn't missed the shot yet that I've been talking about. But no, my goodness, back to Vaughn. Quick pass from Seba. He couldn't get it done on defense, but he gets it on offense. And Tyrese Starting to
So
peak here.
what were we saying about overtime?
I'm saying that apparently dinner's going to be late tonight.
Yeah.
River, though, finger roll off the pass from the post. 103 to 101 with under 2 minutes left to go. It is still anyone's game with how these teams are going right now. Addy. Fancy moves, gets the foul and the and one opportunity. And you hear the crowd. They are not happy.
I would not be either.
They're going to make as much noise as possible. Try and influence this shot. And oh! It bounces off the side. It's still a tied game. Quick pass to Kim in the post, and he's going to lay it up and in. He is coming alive in the second half as well. Getting close to that 20 points, matching his 20 points from the first game. Eddie going for a double screen, but he just can't get by the defense. Defense is too tight.
Santa Ana trying to close that gap. Shot clock's not their friend.
No, it isn't. And now Favors going the other way, and Sterling. Oh, they're not taking their foot off the gas at all. But that gives Santa Ana more opportunities as Seba down to Tyrese. Tyrese fouled from behind. That's River's fifth now. Okay. Overtime becomes a concern. If they manage to go there, they need to keep attacking River. Oh, and the Voodoo. 50 seconds left. Tie game. At least 2 possessions. 1 for each team. A potential third if they take one super early in the shot clock.
Voodoo's really got to rely on those 3-point shooters that we were talking about earlier. They got to hope that one of them is going to barrel it right in. And then, that Santa Ana tries to answer and misses their shot. I think that's the best chance they've got here right now.
I would like to see them take a shot in about a 12-second window. They need to drop that's obviously calling timeout. They move up the floor. They have less distance to travel. So
right.
Take about a 12-second play. That gives them at least 12 seconds left should Santa Ana milk the whole shot clock and take a shot. Make sure they get 2 possessions out of this game. Don't let it wind down. And that's one way to River. He got his 5th foul, but he is more than happy to answer back on offense and give the Voodoo the lead here. Oh boy. Santa
There you
Ana.
go. So Voodoo's going to probably get one last chance to answer anything Santa Ana has to put up.
Well, I'm going to flip it back now. That may have been too quick for the Voodoo. That only took 6 seconds off the shot clock, the game clock. I think the Spectrums now are going to do the same thing. Try and do one in about 12 seconds and make sure they have at least 6 on the clock to answer back for whatever the Voodoo do.
That's very true.
It's a clock management game, and Vaughn gets the missed shot, but no good on the second. Okay, there's enough time now, though. All they have to do is get defensive stop, but no, they're going to alley-oop to Sterling. Sterling, oh, he doesn't have to be physical. He just has to have the finesse to lay that in. And there we go, the Voodoo up by 4 here now in the waning minute.
That may be the nail in the coffin for Santa Ana.
So they definitely have, if they get a 3 here, they can at least foul quickly and hope that a free throw gets missed. That would be my plan here is, go to the hot paw of Addy, get a 3, foul the inbound.
Yeah, because you need that 2 possession to have any chance.
Yeah, sure, maybe if you hit a 2 here and foul, you hope they miss 1 and then have to take a 3. Go ahead and take the 3 now, and then backup case, get the offensive board.
Yeah.
Or if they get that open, they can just lay it in. Okay.
Just give it to Hughes.
Hughes from beyond the arc doesn't matter. But now, technically, the game clock and shot clock are still going together. And they're double teaming Kim, but the no look behind the back pass to River. That is the nail in the coffin, I think. that was where they needed to stop, and they just could not. River, too good, and Addy's going to put up a quick desperation three, and it's just not enough. And Kusic's going to get his, or Cusco going to get his fifth foul, but might foul out here. Yep, he will. Not that it really matters. They're going to send Lowenthal or River to the line. I mean, he might get player of the game honors because of this performance here tonight. And that is the nail in the coffin. 2 possessions, down by 6. Addy needs to hit a 3 here. Oh no, they're going to give the Jin some. Let him take a shot. Ooh, far closer than you would have expected, but it rims out, and just like that, BLV pulls ahead in the waning minutes to win the game.
Yeah, I gotta say, I'm not surprised here. Although Santa Ana did definitely put up a really tough fight this time around.
Oh, no doubt. I definitely thought the momentum was in BLV's favor and the Spectrum's favor, but BLV pulled some magic out of the hat, and just look at all 4 starters near that 20-point mark. I mean, Lowenthal did struggle a little bit, but again, he only took 3 shots tonight. He did not have to be an offensive force for this team to win. He just had to be smart with his play.
He just had to be present.
I mean, he was a factor on defense, and then Malone coming off the bench, putting up 13 points. Carter having a better night than last night, putting up 10.
Yeah, Malone proving that he's still earning his paycheck.
I mean, at this point, I don't think it's so much about the paycheck he cares about.
That's fair.
He wants to match Healy. I mean, honestly, get that 5th ring, match Healy. Maybe go for a 6th even, honestly. Try and surpass him. As we see, the rest of the bench really was quiet for the Voodoo tonight. But then again, with Carter and Malone putting 23 points up themselves, that's all they needed from their bench. Whereas flipping on over to the Spectrums, Tyrese, steady as a rock. Addy, absolutely from nowhere, after such a terrible start to the game, to come up with almost a 30-point game and shoot better than 50% from the field.
And you wonder, like, if he's wondering, like, if I had just gotten a little warmer sooner, we could have a very different game.
I mean, they could have, but honestly, he did everything he could. The team,
That's fair.
The team around him, unfortunately, was able to carry him to the second half. Because remember, they were only down by 2 despite his struggles. And
It's
then
true.
he basically just did everything in the second half, and it wasn't enough. And we saw Gold coming off the bench was the key factor. And London as well, not doing too shabby, putting up 7 points. And definitely, offensive showcase for both teams. I think both teams finished with easily above 50% from the field. I wouldn't be surprised if they shot above 55% with how accurate they were.
So the last numbers I saw, I think, were 57 and 67.
Now we'll dive in here. Obviously, first half in general seemed like to be going in the favor of Biloxi. The second quarter, obviously, we started to see that inkling of BLV losing momentum, and it honestly looked like it was going to go the other way, and certainly Biloxi is wiping their brow. Glad to be done with this game and have gone 2-0 on the road at home and defended home court. They have to worry, though, if they can't get a win against the Spectrums on the road, they're going to be right back in the same situation, and they're going to have to defend again against such fierce competition.
Well, and if the Spectrums get 2 at home, they're going to be coming off of those 2 wins.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you've got that momentum going. Even if they're away, you've got that proof, okay, Biloxi isn't undefeatable. We were able to get them really close in the second game. Now that we're 2 and if we're 2-2, what's to say that we can't be 3-2 and then make it a 4-2 series?
Yeah. I mean, at that point, it's just the best of 3, and honestly, with how close this game was, I mean, it took BLV almost shooting 60% from the field to win this game.
Yes.
And on top of that, they shot 43% from the 3-point line. they were an offensive powerhouse tonight, and yet they were down by 6. And the best lead they put up was 9. And that was very early in the game. Because remember, the Voodoo started 0-6. They had a 6
Right.
point run. And then they were down by 6 at one point. So the Spectrums definitely had a much better night tonight compared to last night. And they have to be taking away some positives from this. Obviously, disappointed that they let the game. Well, I wouldn't say let the game slip through their paws. They definitely put up a heck of a fight. It's just the Voodoo were a little bit better here tonight.
And again, if you're Biloxi, you've got to be careful. Um, yeah, you're up 2-0, but really, Santa Ana has proven tonight that they have what it takes to knock the Voodoo off top.
Yeah, that they do, and like I said, they can't get cocky, and that's the same kind of mindset. They have to be going one game at a time. Sure, they're up 2-0, but they can't go into this next game going, "Oh, it's okay, we've got this. We're up 2-0," because in a snap, it can be a tied series, and watch it quickly become swing the other way and lose another final series.
Exactly.
Well,
And Biloxi has lost so many series in the
well,
finals.
I mean, conference
Uh,
finals are the finals. They've only been to the finals once in the past like 5 years, but they made the conference finals like 2 years in a row. Ugh.
I mean, and Sterling just wants his ring. I mean, we all know that.
I mean, there's a couple people I think on both teams that definitely want those rings. Yeah, you could definitely give the old man his 5th ring. Uh, as you said, high number of average years coming off the bench for the Voodoo. Uh, this is probably their best shot at a ring right now
Hmm.
in their career. Before, I mean, the average FBA career is only 6 years. So if you haven't gotten your ring by year 7 or 8, you're kind of in a situation of probably not going to get one.
Well,
I was
I
say any final thoughts before we send it off for the night?
well, as we said before, Biloxi's, especially um, as we move into Game 3, they're gonna have to really push hard these next two games to really to hold on to any of that lead to try and have any chance of beating the Spectrums in this series. I think the next game will be very telling, just to kind of see where things stand once we're back in Santa Ana, to see if the Voodoo can hold up to the Spectrum's scrutiny in their own home court.
Yeah, I mean, the Voodoo have some swagger right now, and they need to be able to come home in game. I'm assuming unless they sweep. I mean, they could very well sweep, but with how well the Spectrums played tonight, I would be shocked if this series does not go to at least 6, if not 7.
Yeah, this is definitely has the makings of probably one of the most exciting finals we've had in quite some time. So I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully I'll be able to join you in the booth here again soon. And thanks for having me for game two.
Yeah, thanks again for tuning in, everyone. I've been Ryan Eastman, and that was Christopher Whalen. We'll hopefully get you back, like you said, for a feature game, maybe game 3 or 4, potentially
Sounds
5
good.
if we go that way. Well, have a good night, everyone, and make sure you tune in for game 3 in Santa Ana.
Good night.